of database related stuff, like why we are studying JDBC is Java driver or Java code that helps you to interact with the database. That is what is called JDBC, Java Database Connectivity. But okay, you are connecting to database, but you need to know at least simple CRUD operations. Those are called create, read, update, and delete operations on database. That means you need to know what a database is, what a schema is, and all that stuff. So that's why I thought I'll give you a brief introduction of SQL as well. Like think about it with an open mind. If you are not aware of SQL before, just think about it like how you are looking up stuff from a dictionary, say suppose. Okay, so think of it like dictionary is all you have as the data, or a telephone directory is all you have the data, and you want to pick up stuff from that, right? Like either a phone number of a person or something like that, right? So let's see how we can do that on database. Okay, so let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so so to read data from an existing database, there is a query language. Like the language that we use to pull out data is called structured query language. That means this Oracle, MySQL, and Postgres, or Microsoft SQL Server. All these are like various kinds of databases. Okay, so these are called RDBMS, like relational database management systems. Okay, so these are all various vendors that are dealing with the RDBMS. Okay, and it's been there from quite some time. It's like so matured model of databases. Um, okay, and now this SQL is a standard. Like each MySQL or Oracle or Microsoft SQL Server can follow the same paradigm, but syntax can be different. Okay, so just go through this like with me, and stop me right there wherever you feel like it's not making sense, or why are we doing this and all that. But I thought I brought in context, like why we are studying SQL in this course. Okay, so because we are dealing with JDBC, I thought before knowing how to deal with it in Java itself, you should know you should know the other side of it. Like through Java code, you are talking to database. Okay, fine. You are talking to database. What are you trying to do? You're trying to get the data out of it. You're going to save the data. You're going to update the data and all that stuff, right? So that's why you need to know a little bit on the downstream, like how exactly it's been handled on the database. Then you can understand like how you can do it through the Java code. That was my thought. Okay, I'm just getting a little bit of echo. I'm muting you both. Whenever you have questions, feel free to unmute. Okay, so structured query language. So what is this SQL all about? A little bit fancy here. Huh. What is SQL? When a user wants to get some information from a database file, he can issue a query. Okay, and that query is all we do in structured query language. So a query is a user request to retrieve a data or information with a certain condition. SQL is a query language that allows users to specify the conditions instead of algorithms. Internally, it may use a lot of algorithms, but for you, it's like plain old English. Okay, let's see. The user specifies a certain condition. Concept of SQL. The program will go through all the records in the database file and selects those records that satisfy the condition. Then statistical information of the data. You can do like marketing guys needs like counts, those kind of stuff, right? How many registrations happened this month on your website? How many registrations happened through mobile? How many registrations happened through web and all that kind of stuff? So those kind of stuff also you can retrieve using SQL. Okay. The result of the query will then be stored in the form of a temporary table. Okay. Don't worry about this slide actually here. So basic structure of an SQL query. Okay, so before you guys deal with basic structure of an SQL query. Let me actually show you um, a simple, like I have instructions to how to install MySQL as well. I'm going to share with you, like if you don't already have a MySQL database, it is free. We can install it and we can use it for this course. Okay. So the screen that I'm showing you is like a workbench, like our Eclipse, right? In the same way, there is a workbench for MySQL. Once you install MySQL, all you need to do is use this. Okay, use this and try to create a database. These are the list of schemas that I have. Schemas are nothing but names for your database. You have set of tables that you keep it in a namespace called schema. That means whenever, I have these many databases schemas in my server, local server, right? So whenever I'm talking to a particular database, I need to tell, like, oh, uh, go to go to account table in lecture 1 schema, or go to some other table, like A1 table in SP schema, like that. Okay, so I need to tell, like, which table I am talking to, and write the query based off of that. Okay, just think about it like mm, uh, uh, it's like an apartment complex, and to whom you want to visit. So you want to tell, like, I want to visit certain apartment number, and with so and so guy. Like that, you are going to give whichever person you're going to talk to, or whichever database you're going to talk to. Okay, that's what is called a schema. And to retrieve data, and to push data, insert data, update data, and all that, you will use this syntax. Like whether you want to select is nothing but read. Okay, and if you want to say, like, wildcard, select all the records from an employee table whose names are like Ravi. So then there can be like Ravi Nukala, Ravi somebody else, Ravi Kiran, all that, all those guys you want to pick up, right? So there you use something called like. And if you want to do group by, like, okay, select all the people who are named Ravi, give me the count of those guys, or give me their salaries, okay? Or give me their max occurrence, like how when is the last time they actually visited our website. So those kind of stuff we can do using these grouping functions, and these are also called aggregated functions. Okay, then display order. If you want to do order by, like ascending order or descending order, you're going to use this order by clause. Okay, and logical operations, and or not. Okay, these are like any other programming language. And then if you go a little bit further, there is something called like SQL is all about individual statements. If you want to group statements together, either you have to use something called a function or a stored procedure. So there you get to know what is a cursor and all that. Okay, we can talk about it later if you want to know what a procedure is and all that. Okay? And then union. Now, one famous interview question is, what is the difference between union and union all? Okay, you guys must have studied set theory in mathematics, right, in high school. Like there we have like a Venn diagram, right? A and B. And what is A union B? Like it will have combination of everything. It will show unique duplicate elements as just one, and whatever A has and whatever B has will be put together, right? So that is called A union B. Whereas union all is also there. Union all is nothing but whether there are repetitions or not, it's just going to club. Like table A has Ravi Nukala, Ravi Nukala, and table B has again Ravi Nukala three times. It's going to show like total 6 records. Whereas if it is A union B, it's going to only show the common elements once, not duplicates. Okay, that's the difference between union and union all. And also using this structured query language, you can join more than one tables. But don't worry about joins yet. But let's see how to actually deal with a table. Okay. So for you guys, I'll don't be like, oh, what are we talking about today? what I'll do is I'll actually create a database in front of you, okay, for us. So say for example, this is our training, right? Let's create give me a good name for database. Do you guys want to give a good name for database? No? Okay, let me actually decide what we can name. See here, this is how we do. Create a new schema. Do you see that? Click on it, and what you need to do is, okay, let's say like training, okay? Training is our database name, and you can give anything, default collection that has nothing to do with what we are doing. Creating a schema called training, okay? So you created it. Now I want to go to that training table, right? So I have, so it is asking me, okay, how many tables you have, how many views you have, how many routines you have. So I don't have anything right now. So in front of you guys, we'll just create a table for this one. What is it? So you have a student table. In the student table, I want to have ID, which is called a primary key. What is a primary key? Is nothing but uniquely identifies a record in a particular table is called a primary key. Duplicates are not allowed for this primary key. Okay. So if there will be only one employee ID, right? Like say my employee ID is 197. So across the board, there will be only like they can recognize me only by my employee ID, because there can be more than one Ravi Nukalas in the world, right? I myself have my cousin by exact same name. So with last name and everything is same. So if we both join a company, how can they distinguish between us? Just by employee ID, right? So in the same way, like each and every record within a table can be identified uniquely by this primary key. It need not be just ID. Primary key can be anything, but you need to identify something within that record set, like a unique way of identifying a record. Before moving forward, I just want to make sure, are you guys comfortable? Are you guys with me so far? Oh, okay, cool. Okay, nice. So you can uniquely identify each and every record. Okay, each and every record uniquely. That is what is called a primary key. So primary key is also a unique key. There is another concept called unique key in RDBMS or SQL. What is that unique key? Like unique key need not be a primary key. Okay, so if you look at addresses, like each of the employee may have different address that can be considered as unique key, but it need not be a primary key. And a key can be null, but primary key does not cannot be null. Okay, primary key cannot be null. Then so these are the other things, like what is a table? It's a collection of fields. Okay, it's a collection of fields of various data types. Okay, it's a collection of various fields that you want to put together. That is what is called a table. Okay, that means whatever you want to identify as a separate thing, like say student, what all attributes a student can have. If you want to maintain him in a system, student is nothing but an object for us in Java, right? So within that object, what are you going to maintain? ID, name of the student, date of birth, whether he's male or female, class, H code, like a house code or a district code, and something like a score or something, right? Or all his report. Like for example, don't even worry about anything else. Like if he has 7 subjects, we may capture all 7 subject marks. Okay, just think about it that way. So that is what is called table. That means it's a logical separation. Okay? If student is there and student location is there, a student can move to multiple places, right? He need not be in one location forever. Like when he started in our school at first standard, he was in some other address. At second standard, he was in a different address, and all that. So if you were to maintain all the histories, how is it going to be? Like all the history of his addresses, you are going to logically separate student with student locations table. Okay, student record is unique, and it will have only one entry, whereas student locations can be given a student ID. You can have 10 records. He may move one or more, right? He may stay at one place or more than one place. So like that, you're going to logically separate. Okay, logically separate. So, like, if you want to get even more a clearer picture of how a table looks like, think about it like an Excel. Okay, think about it like an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, let me actually get this loaded. Okay, cancel. So think about it like an Excel spreadsheet. How each workbook is, right? In the same way, each of your table looks like. It has multiple cells, multiple rows. Uh, that's how we save the data. Sorry about that. I have a bunch of spreadsheets. Okay, so here is the thing. It's like this. So sheet one is the table, and it has what number of rows and number of columns. So you are going to maintain something like this, right? Student ID. Okay, student ID, name, date of birth, date of birth, and then class. This one, decor. So all these. Okay, so this is about, like, each record will be about a student, individual student. Okay, then if you want to capture their list of IDs, like okay, this student, how, like, where all he lived before, then instead of keeping them in one table, you can logically separate them out, because it becomes too long, right? And you don't want to save repetitive data about the same person. everything else will be Everything else will be repeated except address, if you think about it, right? Everything else will be same. Nothing is changing except his address. So you don't want to keep everything in the one table, so you're going to logically separate it out. Like, oh, this is one record, and we are moving him in moving the repetitive stuff to a different table. Like, one record can have many entries in the student location table. So this is called one to many relationship. And this is also called normalization. If somebody asks you what is normalization, you're actually making your table logically separated out into multiple modular small tables. Okay, small tables. So like, you need not have to maintain repetitive data in that. Okay, so did what the table make sense to you guys? If you are not already aware of what a table is it making sense so far? Okay, right. Fine. So it's all being said now. If you want to create a table in here, let's go ahead and create a table. So this is like a handy tool, right? You need not do through command prompt. This workbench is letting us do it, similar to Eclipse for us, right? Okay, let's create a table, something called student column ID, and it can be of data type int and primary key and not null value. Okay, so it is giving us all those opportunities to select. And with MySQL, there is also something called auto increment. That means whenever you're inserting a row, it will give a primary key, like increment the ID. First time it will insert 1, next time it will insert 2, and all that stuff. Okay, so I'll make my table simple. I'm lazy. I don't want to create bunch of stuff. And what else you want to? Date of birth. Okay, I'll not keep anything more. Date of birth is like, you can save it like a date. No need of time. Generally, somebody asks us date only, right? Okay. So I created this table. You're going to say apply. So this is the syntax. How to create a table? Create a table, schema name, dot table name, ID, not null and auto increment. It has a name which can be null, date of birth which can be null. It's up to you how you want to define your tables. Okay, so you created a table. Now let's see how to actually. All right. Okay, so now you have the table, right? So let's see if you want to insert data. Okay, right now if you see there is nothing inside our table. Select rows, there is nothing in there because we just created. So if you want to insert some data, this is how you're going to insert into name of the table, training dot student. You're going to give the name of the columns. ID, whether you insert or not, it's going to auto increment. Okay, so don't worry about inserting ID. Name comma dob, values, then what are you going to put? Ravi, and date, some date, give some date. Okay, so I'm going to insert a value in here. Okay, so what did it say? Look at the bottom of it. Insert into this one row affected. That means it inserted the row. So if it inserted or not, how we are going to say? Select star from this. Star means all the fields you are interested in. Okay, so this is how I want to insert, right? It inserted. See the ID, though I did not insert the ID, it gave the ID. Okay, so if you are inserting one more, it's going to insert. Okay, but it's going to give the ID 2. See here, getting my point? So now instead of star, you just want to get only the names. Then you're going to say select names from this table. So it's going to display all the names. Okay, and say I'm going to say like one other thing is 1980. Okay, so I have 3 records in there, right? So everybody has this, and if I say star, I'm going to look at all the data within it, right? From that table. And now you got all the data. Now if I ask you, select all the records whose date of birth is greater than 1880. Okay, that means first 2 records should not show up for us, right? So select star from this where DOB greater than, this is like simple English, right? Greater than 1980, or you want to ask for 1880, right? 1880 1231. So that means whoever is greater than last day of 1880, right? December. Only one record. So like that you can write n number of conditions, or whoever is less than, then you need to get the other 2, converse of it, right? So other 2 records. So like that you can do plain English to fetch records outside of the database. Like database is like huge, right? So anything that you do today, like you sign up to a yahoo.com, they put you in a database because you want to come back, and when you try to log in again, they want to retrieve you, right? So you are an entity for them. Okay, entity or a table is same. Entity, we are talking about it in terms of Java world. It's an entity, like it's a bean. Like if you think about it, I'm going to keep student as an object, and it has 3 fields called ID, name, and DOB, right? It's like a bean. Think about it like that. And table is like a collection. If you think about it in a Java world, it has like collection of objects. So it can have a collection of objects, and each object is representing one row in the database. Getting my point? Try to understand this. It will be like really simple if you think about it in object oriented world kind of stuff. Fine. So now I want to update this row to from Ravi Nukula to somebody else. I want to update the name of it because it's incorrect. Okay, so I want to show you another query called update. There is update also. Update. What do you want to update? Training.student, and you want to change the name of whom name equals to. Okay, who's if you just do this, you're not giving a where condition, right? Where condition is like an extra check. If you don't give it, it will update every record. But I want to make sure where id equals to 2. So I want to update only the second row. So see here, it said one row affected. Okay, so let's see what all this select star from student gives us. So second value got updated, right? Then if I want to delete somebody, right, let's go delete from training student where id equals to 2. I want to delete only the one with id 2, say for example. So one row affected, and if you look at our table now, entire table with no conditions, so the second one went away. Do you see that? So like any framework, like for example, any frameworks that can come in on top of databases, okay, you should be able to know these 4 simple steps at least. Okay, create, delete, update, and read. Okay, you should know create, read, update, and delete, called CRUD. Okay, if you think about it, anything that we do on any application, they fall down onto this CRUD operations. So if you know CRUD operations on database, then you're going to learn those on JDBC, like through Java code how to call it. And then we are going to discuss about Hibernate, like why we need to use some frameworks to talk to database. Anything you do, you are going to learn CRUD. Okay, so that way you are like, oh, okay, now I know how to create, how to read, update, and delete. Now there can be any circumstances that you or any use cases that you're going to address that fall in this category. Okay, are we clear so far? Like, is it completely tangential to your understanding, or are you guys good? Are you guys following?
Yes.
Okay. So now that you guys got a context, I just want to go back to slides and go through it a little bit. Oh, I want to actually get rid of this sound. It's like so annoying. Uh, Sorry about that. Okay, I don't want to waste time on this. Okay. Oof. Okay. So we know these like select star from right. If you want to only get non-duplicates, you're going to say distinct. Okay. If you say distinct, it's going to give you uh, non-duplicates. Okay. So you saw select star or name of the columns that you want to fetch from table name and where condition. The query will select rows from the source table name and output the result in the table form. Okay. So expression 1 and expression 2 can be a column, an expression of functions. Okay. We can talk about it. Right? Distinct will eliminate duplicates in the output. Like in our thing, we have 2 duplicate Ravi Nukalas, right? So if you want to say distinct name from this is going to give us only one Ravi Nukala. You see that? Yeah. So that's how you're going to do that. And then you can have equality, inequality, and all that. Okay. Then before using SQL, open the student file. Okay. Use student, list all the student records, select star from student, and then so you're going to get list of students, all the students, right? Then list the names and their and house code of a student 1A. House code of 1A students. That means list names. So if this is a stable structure, how is our query going to be? Like, let me go back to the table structure. So this is our table structure. Now from this, can one of you tell me how to list all the students whose H code is 1A, or what is the condition here? List all the names and house code of 1A students. That means 1A is class. Okay. So select all the students whose class is 1A, like name and H code I need, whose class is 1A. How are you going to write the select query? Can one of you tell me? Now that we know the syntax of how to fetch the fields, only requested fields, and the where condition here is class 1A, how will the query look like?
Select name comma H code from student
Uh,
where class equal to 1A.
Actually, wait a second. I need to increase my volume a little bit. Yeah. Can you please repeat that if you don't mind?
Yeah. Select name comma H code
Mm-hmm.
from student where class equal to 1A.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, who is that? Who said this?
Teja.
Okay. Okay. Then list the names and house code. Yeah. Sorry, this sound is annoying me actually. Do you guys know how to disable this sound?
I don't know.
Yeah, even I'm like, okay. This is like annoying me totally. Transitions. None. Uh, Sorry about mouse click. I want to transition, which is fine. But where is this volume coming from, right? Animation or slideshow? Presenter view. Transition, fade, and all this is fine. To remove the sound.
Is this Microsoft PowerPoint?
It was. Now I'm using it on Mac.
I saw this in the net.
Previously, it never, bothered me. Looks like.
Is that any useful?
Say that again.
I sent you the message.
Oh,
Is
I
it
did.
any?
You did.
Is it useful?
Uh, Click sound icon image or CD icon image and then press delete. In normal view. What do you mean normal view? How do I go there? So here these guys are saying, do you think this one, we just saw this one, right? Okay, you're saying normal view, is it?
Yeah.
I go to home. Do you see any normal view here? No, right? That's in Word actually, right? Normal view and all that.
I just typed in the internet. Give me.
Okay. Yeah, even I want to do the same. Let me actually stop the name. So star can be replaced by whatever you want to fetch. Okay. So
Okay.
what are you going to do? Select replace star with whatever you
Name
want. Name from student.
from student, where sex
Uh-huh.
is female,
Mm-hmm.
and what else you said?
1B, class 1B.
Class 1B.
Yeah.
Class equals to 1B.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So these are all simple SQL stuff. So before discussing our JDBC, I was just giving you guys some overview of SQL. Okay. So how do you find age? So list the names and ages. You just have date of birth, right? So this is one other function they're using, date minus date of birth by 365 to give you age, like age in years. Okay. So of all the girls from 1B and whatever conditions that you guys said, so name and age. This is how you find out age using the date functions. Okay. Then list the names and IDs of 1A students with no fee remission. So one of those columns you got to identify that says like remission is false. Okay. So like if you want to know, like list the students who were born on Wednesday or Saturdays. How will the query look like if this is the schema? I'm going back. List all the people. Like this is the schema for us. Okay. If this is a schema, list all the people who are born on a Wednesday or a Friday or a Saturday. How do you find out?
Super mom ऐसी कर तो कहता है manage everything.
How do you find out? List all the peoples who are born on a Friday, Wednesday or a Saturday. Can one of you attempt how to, like just now we saw how to find age. In the same way, you got to identify the day from their birth date. Do you know how to do that? Do you know how to do that? Here. So you're going to be converting, list all the students who were born on a Wednesday or a Saturday. So you're going to be using a function called CDOW or day of the week. Okay, day of the week. What is the day of the week that you're finding it as? Like either four. Like index starts from zero. Zero is a Sunday. Um, so who are born on Wednesday or Saturday. Okay, so 0 to like it starts from 0 and ends at Saturday. So whatever you get, you're going to put in there. Okay, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. Okay, fine. Then let's move on to the next one. List all the students who were born. So these are the various operations that you get to when you go through these slides. Okay. So one thing I want to tell you is group by and having. Probably people may ask you in the interviews as well, like group by. When are you going to group by? Like say I have a list of like how to identify duplicates in a table. Okay. So I have list of employees and list of employee IDs that are like that can be duplicates in a table. That's not a primary key in the table. So how to identify there are like list of duplicates? So you're going to say like select star from whatever table you're given, group by employee ID. Okay, like select ID comma count of. Okay, so you're going to say like select ID comma count of something, group by employee ID, having that count whatever you got greater than 1. That means whichever is greater than 1, that means those are the IDs that are duplicated. Okay, whichever is greater than 1, those are the things that are duplicated. So this is one way of identifying how to identifying list of duplicate IDs. And from that list you want to get rid of duplicates, delete duplicate records. So from that ID you want to get the max ID. Okay, from that list of IDs you want to get the max ID and then delete it. So whichever one you want to keep, even older one or the higher one for that ID. Okay, you want to delete. So this is most important. I ask this if when I'm interviewing people, like how to delete duplicates from a table. Okay, so that's probably one important thing in this. And then what is this one? Let's see. So list the number of students in each class. How are you going to list the number? You're just going to say count. Okay, so you want to say count from each group by class. Then you want to group by class. Okay, that means 1A count, 1B count, 1C count, like that. Let's go through these slides. You'll get to know more. So if you want to do average, all these functions like sum, max, average, min, all these called actually aggregated functions. Okay, or group functions. So like is for wildcard search that we saw, right? This is one other thing I was talking about, like average and the class, like average marks from the class. Okay, from each class you're grouping by, and you're finding the average from the M test. Okay, then order. If you want to default order, if you say order by a column name, it's going to be like ascending order. If you want a descending order, you're going to say order by descending. Okay. Yeah, you can have more than one in the order by clause. Like it's going to order by this one first and then the second one. Okay, so you can fetch the output of SQL queries into another table, or you can fetch the output into a cursor. Cursor is like again you can think of it like a collection in terms of database world. Okay, and then to file, you can write to a file, or you can print it, or you can spill it out on the screen. Okay, so this particular output, like output of this database query, is going to be going into another table. You can print it out like this. So union, this was the Venn diagram I was talking about even before. One common question is union and union all, right? What I was talking about, union is nothing but like a disjoint, and then common elements are displayed only once. Okay, an intersection. So when you do an inner join, okay, that is like an intersection. It is going to give you only the common elements out of it. And difference, a minus b, is going to give only this one. You know this already, right? So in the same way, here, so consider the members of a bridge club and the chess club. The two database files have the same structure. Okay, same structure for two different clubs. And then, so now, so if you use union, it is going to give common people who are common and uncommon people, like whoever registered in both bridge club A and chess club, they are going to be displayed as only one. Whereas who are not in here and here, like it's going to club the two, and common guys will be displayed only once. Okay, whereas if it is union all, whether it is common or not, it's going to just do a plus b. Okay, so there can be duplicates in union all. Okay. Then difference. So you're going to just say like inner join, I said, right? What you're talking about is, okay, get all the people from chess and get all the people from bridge whose ID is same as people in chess. So who registered for both chess and bridge is what it is going to give us. Okay. Okay. So multiple tables. So this is one other common question that you guys may get into. Like, what is this join? You must have heard people talking about join. Join is nothing but you can get the data from two different tables. Okay, joining different tables by bringing in a relationship between these two tables. SQL provides a convenient operation to retrieve information from multiple tables, which is called a join. This operation is called join, and the join operation will combine the tables into one large table with all possible combinations called Cartesian product. That means if you have table A and table B, it's going to do A by B like a matrix. Okay, like a matrix, like all rows and multiplied by all columns, all rows multiplied by all columns, all rows multiplied by columns. So it's going to bring in a big Cartesian product, um, um, Cartesian product of all possible combinations and treat it as one big table. And now from that, whatever conditions you apply, it's going to give us the data out of it. Okay? Let's see. So field one, field one, A, B, field 2, 1, 2, 3. So this is the Cartesian product, right? Even matrix we saw this kind of stuff, right? So this may not be a perfect example, but if you have 2 by 2, 2 by 3 and 3 by 2, how the matrix is going to be 2 by 2, right? Like there you're going to multiply all the rows with all columns and stuff like that. But to understand the Cartesian product in a little bit deeper, this is probably straight away. Don't worry about the matrix example that I gave. Just look at this one. So A has all combinations of 1, 2, 3. B has all combinations of 1, 2, 3. Right. So that means it is clubbing both and creating a big table of all combinations of A with all combinations of B um, with the other table. Okay. So it is creating like a huge combination of both. Then each student should learn a musical instrument. We have two database files, student.dbf and music.dbf. The common field is student ID. Okay, fine. So now, if you want to find out, okay, natural join. Okay, so what is natural join? Is a join operation that joins two tables by their common column. This operation is similar to setting relationship of the two tables. That means uh, here in this case, what is common here? Student ID, right? So how the query looks like, select whatever fields you want to fetch from student comma music. From both the tables we want the data, where student ID equals to music.id. Music.id, like ID is common between two is what is being told, right? So ID is the relationship here. So who are all the students registered in music we want to find out. Okay, who are all the students registered in music we want to fetch the data out of it. So that's like select star from students comma music, where SID equals to m.id, order by class comma name. Okay, so this is going to give us all the students who are registered for the various types of musics they can be registered to, right? Then find the number of students learning piano. So what are you going to do? You're going to do a join, and also you're going to fetch put a condition like I'm interested in only fetching the piano, and also you're going to say, okay, group by class. So that means from each of these classes, how many people registered for piano, I need the count. Okay, so this is how we are going to do. Select name of the class, count. Okay, from student and music, you joined both the stuff, and type of music that they are learning is piano, and you're grouping by class. So that's when you're going to get the number out of it. Like because if you look at the Cartesian product, 1A must have been joined with um, music multiple times. Now what you want to know? Oh, okay, So it is joined with multiple times with various types of musical instruments. Now I want to know only of type M of type piano. So give me the name of the class, give me the count. Okay, give me the count. Whose M dot type is piano only from each of these classes. I want the count for each of these classes. So that's why I'm grouping by that class. Are you guys with me? Are you guys following? Can you hear me now, Rini? I just saw your message. Is it a problem with
Yes,
everyone?
yes, Ravi. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So are you guys with me? Are you following? Teja, Brinda? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Actually, you were not on mute. You guys can speak up. Okay, fine. So this is the natural join. Then let's move on. So outer join. An outer join is a join operation that includes rows that have a match row plus rows that do not have a match row. That means, say for example here, list the students who have not yet chosen an instrument. That means student table has everything, like list of all students who are not in music also should be displayed. Okay, so how are you going to do that? So select from student where id not in music. This is one way of doing it, or you can do a outer join. Okay, so how are you going to do the outer join? Like this. So you could have got it by union, or you could have got it by one other way that I am thinking about. See here. Okay, let me actually do this for you. Like here, instead of just union, we could have also said some syntax called outer join. Okay. Right now, the one that is displayed to you is various ways of fetching data. Like select all the students where ID not in music. This gives us whatever you want. Okay. Or you could have also said, like this guy said, okay, select all the students who are registered in music, union, select all the students who are not in music. That means you're getting the common elements and uncommon elements. Okay, common elements and uncommon elements is going to give you people, like again you need to put a condition like, okay, common elements and uncommon elements, and from that uncommon elements you are going to remove the people who did not who already registered. Is going to fetch you people who did not register, but this is like a roundabout way, right? There is some other concept, like within that outer join itself there is a concept called left outer join and right outer join. Like if you understood like outer join, difference between outer join and inner join, I'll go in detail between left outer join and right outer join. But question to you guys right now is, did you guys follow what is an inner join and outer join, difference between inner join and outer join? Inner join is going to give you, or natural join is called inner join as well. um, Natural join is going to give you only the common elements between table A and table B. But whereas outer join is going to give you not only the common elements, uncommon elements between table A and table B. Right? That's outer join. Fine. Now, if you talk about left outer join, table A is left hand side, table B is right hand side, say suppose. And if you did a left outer join between A and B, it's going to give you common elements between A and B and uncommon elements from left hand side. Okay? Uncommon elements from the left hand side.
Ravi,
Yeah. What's up?
is outer join like a union?
Outer join is like a union. Yeah, you can think about it that way. But union is going to give you only non-duplicates, right? It's going to give you only unique
Yes.
elements. Yeah, it's going to give you only unique elements. Union. But it's like you can say like outer join is like union all, probably. Okay, like say for example, um, join is doing what? Like it's like a Cartesian product, but there need not be any common element on the table that it is joining on. Am I making sense to you? Like
Okay.
Cartesian product gave what?
Yes.
A1, A1, B, A2, B, and like that, right? 1B, 2B, like that.
Yeah.
In the same way, there need not be an element existing on the right hand side, whether it is duplicate or non-duplicate. To your question, is it same as union or union all? I am just thinking about that. So you have everything in A, common between A and B. So it gave everything that is common, and everything that is common and also B. Okay, let's think about it in the Venn diagram. I think I'm going to conclude saying like what you said. It's like a union. Let me go back to that Venn diagram. Yeah, here, what is it we are talking about? If you are doing outer join, it's not only going to give you common elements of A, and it's also going to give you common elements of uncommon elements was the thought, right?
Yes.
So if you look at union, so it's going to give you common elements, and also this one, yeah, it's same as union. Yeah, it's same as union. But if you are expecting duplicates, that may not come out. That's why I'm
Okay.
closely thinking about maybe it is like a union all. Mm, yeah, the thing is, here you are going to do this based off of a primary key, right? Like when you do a join, you got to specify on which key it is joining on, right?
Yeah.
And primary key cannot be duplicated. So you can safely think about it like it is union. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I was just analyzing whether it's union or union all, but yeah, you can say it is union. Join is like same as union. Yeah. Okay. But to further what I'm talking about, union left outer join. Okay. When you're talking about left outer join, think about it in terms of here. What it is going to give is common elements and uncommon elements from A only. It will not give anything from B, which is not common. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And right outer join is nothing but common elements and uncommon elements from B. It will not give anything from A. If you are doing a right outer join between A and B, is it making sense to you guys?
Yes.
Others? Okay. So an outer join is a join operation that includes rows that have a match plus rows that does not have a match in the other table. So this other table can be a left hand side or the right hand side. So that's why we were doing union here. Okay. So this is about SQL. So now with this in mind, now if we were to do all these operations through Java, how are we going to do? That's when JDBC comes into picture. Okay. So for you guys to get started, you need to have MySQL DB installed. So I think today's material I'm going to share has that. Okay. So MySQL, if you guys are using Windows or Mac, probably it should not be much difference. So download MySQL Community Edition, and these are like some screenshots I took long time back. Just install it. Once you're done, probably you should be able to see the command line, give username and password, and you should get the database up and running. Once you do that, go ahead and install MySQL Workbench. So probably I'm going to share the links that you have to install as well. Probably that helps. So go ahead and install these two. Then practice this slide so to get more understanding of SQL. Uh, with this in mind, I think we can move towards JDBC. Okay, fine. Okay. So what is JDBC, right? So JDBC is generic SQL database access framework in Java. So allows applications to query databases and manipulate data written from them. It is based on OpenSQL call level interface. That means you're going to um, invoke SQL using a callable interface. Okay, call level interface standard. ODBC is also based on CLI. Like if you are on Windows, you have ODBC driver. Like if you go to your, I think I forgot, manage, and like you can create a DSN, like a data source name, and give your database names and everything. So you can talk to your Java application driver can talk to that ODBC like a bridge and talk to database. So that's how it initially started. Okay, call level interface that helped interacting with the database. Okay, so that means that you're introducing a layer in between database. If you're writing SQL, you're directly writing it on a database. But if you're talking with Java talking to database, then there is a layer in between that has to help you interactions with the that has to help in interactions with the database. So that is what is called a call level interface that we it started with. Okay. JDBC advantages: leverage existing enterprises, reduce development time because you need not have to maintain a like a SQL code and all that stuff. You can actually write on SQL somewhere, or you can write it in Java code. You need not have to maintain it both places. And zero configuration for network clients. Key features: full access to metadata. That means full access to table information. No installation required. Database is connection is identified by just a URL. Like I'll talk about that in brief. Included in the Java platform. So JDBC is included in Java platform, so it is easy. Java developers can become SQL developers as well. Like they can write SQL queries. You don't need to have a different SQL team for that. Then JDBC drivers. So when you talk about drivers, there are like four types of drivers. One is like type 1 driver, type 2, type 3, and type 4. These are like when I started career, these are like most famous interview questions. Probably now nobody asked about it. But these are like JDBC ODBC is the bridge driver. That means you have to go create a DSN name, and then with that DSN name you're going to give your database configurations. And this is like overhead, like you're going to, like whatever you write in JDBC Java, it has to be converted to ODBC, and then that ODBC will talk to the database. So it's like an overhead and tough to manage because you need to transform anything that you have written in JDBC to ODBC. Then they came up with something called native API. That means it is platform dependent. Java actually is platform independent, but this one became like platform dependent, and that's why we did not go much with this. And net protocol, like you have a network server in between. Whatever you have written in Java is going to be more like network server is going to transform that, and that's where you're actually executing it. So it became a cumbersome again to actually manage. So type 1, type 2, type 3 If you know they are there, that is fine. But always, even in my when I started my career, I was always been using type 4. So don't even worry about type 1, type 2, and type 3. Type 4 is all Java native protocol and all Java driver. That's why we are interested in. So, any database platform, like if you take MySQL or Oracle or any of these guys, they have their own type 4 driver created in Java. So we're just going to put that in our class path and we are good. We need not have to worry about it anything else. It's maintained in Java, so it's easy for anybody to look it up and all that. So that's why we use type 4 drivers. Okay, so JDBC drivers are divided into 4 types. Each type defines a JDBC driver implementation with increasing higher level of platform independence, performance, and deployment. So top to bottom, increasing in performance and platform independence. So we go with type 4. Type 1, type 1 driver has a client machine, JDBC ODBC bridge. ODBC driver is actually talking to the vendor. So this is a overhead. Like your Java program on the client machine is going to talk to JDBC, ODBC, and ODBC driver. So you need to have a ODBC bridge on the client side, which is like cumbersome. And every installation should have that connection. And so don't even think about it. Just think of it like it's a little bit of overhead because JDBC has to talk to ODBC. Okay. Then I mentioned a few advantages and disadvantages. Advantage is JDBC ODBC bridge allows access to almost any database since the database's ODBC drivers are already available. Type 1 drivers may be useful. Like when they first started this idea, ODBC drivers already exist. They just bridge the gap and they are good. They need not have to develop anything on the database side. The performance is degraded since the JDBC call goes through the bridge to the ODBC driver, then to native database connectivity interface. So the result comes back through the reverse process again. So whatever comes back from database has to be converted to ODBC, and from ODBC connected to convert to Java and stuff like that. So it's like multiple overheads. Native API, partly Java driver. So then they started thinking in terms of converting into a little bit into Java and all that. So JDBC type 2, the native API, partly Java, converts JDBC calls into database specific calls for database such as SQL and all that. And type 2 driver communicates directly with the database server. So therefore it requires some binary code be present on the client side because you're talking to native APIs, right? So you have to maintain some vendor libraries on the client side. Advantage is better performance than JDBC ODBC bridge. The vendor database library needs to be loaded on each client machine, which is again right. If you are in the internet world, you cannot ask every client to install that, right? So that's like a drawback and lower performance than future drivers. Let's see what is that. So net protocol all Java driver. So they started moving towards all Java driver, but they introduced something called a server machine, like middleware server in between. Like Java driver talks to that middleware server that actually talks to the database. So anything in between Java and database is going to be cumbersome to maintain because that may be available, that may be down and all that. You got to maintain all that. Let's see what they are talking about. Follows a three-tiered approach whereby JDBC database requests are passed through the network to the middle tier server, and the middle tier server then translates the request to the database specific native connectivity interface to further the request to database server. If the middle tier server is written in Java, it can use type 1 or type 2. So it's not different from type 1, at least. That is what I'm thinking about. So that's why it's again cumbersome. Advantage is the net protocol, all Java is server based. So there is no need for any vendor database library to be present on the client machine, which is a drawback in type 2. So they made an improvement there. Further, there are many opportunities to optimize portability, performance, and scalability, which is another advantage. Moreover, the net protocol can be designed to make the client database driver very small and fast to load. Additionally, a Type 3 driver typically provides support for features such as caching, load balancing, and all that, which are all advantages. Disadvantage: Type 3 drivers require database specific coding to be done in the middle tier. So You have to write your own code for Oracle, your own code for SQL. So that actually brings in a problem, like if you shift from one database to other, you have to actually be careful and all that, right? You need to have some native client coding there. That's why they removed it. Then came in type 4 driver, native protocol, all Java driver. That means whatever you write in client machine directly goes and talks to database driver, okay, database server, and converts all the JDBC calls into vendor specific data management system protocol, so that the client applications can communicate directly, no intermediary in between. Level 4 drivers are completely implemented in Java to achieve platform independence and eliminate deployment administration issues like type 3 and type 2. Okay. Advantage: since type 4 JDBC drivers don't have to translate database requests to ODBC or native interfaces to pass the request onto another server, performance is typically quite good. The native protocol all Java driver boasts better performance than type 1 and type 2. Also, there is no need to install special software on the client machine. Further, these drivers can be downloaded dynamically, like automatically also. With type 4 drivers, the users needs a different driver for each database. But given the headache of maintenance and all that, I think this is far more easier. Java guys can download any jar and put it in class path. They don't complain about it, at least if they adapt it to Java, right? Then we saw SQL, like we saw a little bit of SQL and all that, right? Then all this stuff. So this one slide is being translated into one big slide for you guys in the beginning, okay? And one thing you need to know is DDL, difference between DDL and DML, data definition language and data manipulation language. DDL, like this create statement, alter statement, or drop table, these are all database definition languages, like create schema and all that. But whereas when you are trying to update, insert, delete, these are like data manipulation language, okay? You need to clearly understand the distinction between these two, okay? Then JDBC allows the use of SQL statements to interact, like create, query, and update with the database. So SQL and Java syntax necessary to use JDBC effectively. So fine. So how to deal with this? Like what are the important interfaces and where are all these standing in? Like JDBC related stuff is all part of java.sql package. Okay. Java.sql package. And it has good interfaces like driver, connection, statement, callable statement, prepare. These are all the new these are all the interfaces that you guys need to be aware of if you know JDBC. Then so JDBC classes, like what previously we saw interfaces, and what are the classes? The driver manager is a class, timestamp is a class, SQL exceptions and warnings, if you want to know the warnings and all that. Okay. What is this driver manager? Driver manager is a very important class. What does it do is it helps us in getting the connection from the database, like given a URL, username and password. Like if you look at my database here, localhost, host name is my localhost, port name is 3306, spdb user is my username, and password is also same. So if you know a database that existing and you have access to that database, given a URL, username and password, this driver manager will take care of getting a connection object. That means you can establish a connection. Okay, you can establish a connection using driver manager.get connection. That's why it is very important class. Okay, okay. And if it is SQL or if it is Oracle or MySQL, you have drivers that you download, right? So all you're going to say is class dot for name of the driver, okay, and then automatically loads and registers the driver. Once you automatically load and register the driver, then you're going to say driver manager dot get connection. That's it, and give the URL. It's going to give the URL. We're going to see an example, then you'll understand it a little more better. Okay? So depending on the type of server that you are using, you are going to download a particular driver. Okay, so here driver info. Okay, registers a JDBC driver you want to use. Use the getDrivers method to retrieve the list of registered drivers. Obtain the driver information by querying each of the available drivers. Okay, so let's see how this example works. Okay, so we are talking about the example called driver info, right? See here. So what are we trying to do here? We're trying to do public static void main. See, class dot for name. Class dot for name actually loads the driver that you passed and enumeration available drivers. So forget about this for a minute. So you're going to say like drivers, how many drivers you have available, and then you're going to display their properties, like what is the name of the like their property info, like whatever property you want to display. Let's see, do we need anything in the class path is what I'm looking at. Okay, let's see how it works. Okay, so you have the list of drivers here. MySQL driver. It is giving us the host name, host value, database name. Because I did not set any of those fields, it is all empty. Okay, so these are the various properties that are available for any database related stuff. Okay, but with the existing knowledge that you guys have, can one of you tell me why it gave only MySQL as the available driver? How it knew there is only MySQL driver? I commented out this one as well, right? So how it knew that there is a MySQL driver? Think about it. Can one of you tell me? Because it's in the class path.
Mm.
Okay, because it is in the class path. If I remove that and then try executing it, it's still showing something. Let's see what it is. It is still showing. Means I still have somewhere in the class path.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have it in my extensions itself, like GRE library itself. That's why it is showing that. Ah, interesting. I cannot remove it from here. I have to go to the library extension. But you guys understood, right? Why it is there?
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I don't have any other database, but um, just try it out without putting anything in the class path. Fine. Let's move on. Connecting to a database. Like these are very important steps. A lot of people asked me these questions before. Like to connect to a database, always you have to load the driver by specifying the driver as a string. Then use the get connection method of driver manager class to connect to the database. Get the connection method. Get connection method takes a URL as a parameter or URL as a string, specifies the type of protocol that you are using, and JDB sub protocol as JDBC, and returns a connection object. Okay, so driver manager.get connection is going to give you a connection object. Goals of this convention, like naming should be include connection information. Net protocol should have the port number and host name. JDBC ODBC bridge should use the simple protocol. Okay, like this, like JDBC colon protocol name and subname. Okay, and subprotocol name is the database connectivity mechanism supported by the driver, and subname is the host name and everything. Example is okay. Let me actually, yeah. So example is JDBC colon ODBC if you are using a type 1 driver, or if you are using type 1 driver with a database name as Northwind, user ID is this and password this, you got to pass that. Okay. So let's see the example of so this is about let's see only the type 4. Don't worry about type 1, type 2, type 3, but type 4 I'm going to show it here. There are examples for type 1, type 2 and type 3, but I think we are now too modern. No need to actually know about type 1 execution also. So here is the thing. If you look at this example, how to connect to a database, it has 4 steps, right? This is the URL string, but I just modified it, right? Localhost. Okay, localhost, and database name is what? Training, right? We have a database name by name training. I created that, right? Okay, training. And these are the steps. Remember, class.forName to load the database driver. If you want to load Oracle driver, you're going to say like Oracle JDBC driver dot Oracle driver. Okay, so you need to have that in the class path if you're using Oracle. Then connection, you need to pass the URL and the username and password. It's going to give us the connection object. Once you do the connection object, then you got to say con.create statement is going to give a statement object. And statement.execute query is when you are going to give a query. Okay, that means here we have what? We have a student table, right? Select ID, comma, name from student. Okay, student. And result set metadata is the result set metadata is the interface that actually gives you column count and all that extra information. Metadata, whenever you hear a word metadata, it's information about data. Like result set metadata means metadata is like extra information about result set. Okay, result set is an interface, and now result set metadata is an interface as well on top of result set, which actually gives more information, like how many columns we retrieved and all that kind of information, extra information about it, like column class name, column type, precision of each column and all that stuff. Okay, so that's about result set metadata. And now if you think about it, let's forget about result set metadata for a moment. So you got the result set, you're saying like result set dot next. That's when the cursor moves to first element in the result set, and you're going to display result set metadata, like a result set value. Okay, result set value like this, rs.get string of either you can use a integer like this, or you can say the name. Okay, name or index. Okay, any of these you can use to fetch the data out of it. Once you did this, you're going to say rs.close, which is closing the result set, and con.close, which is actually going closing the um, connection, like database connection. And you can actually put this con.close in the finally. That means you know why finally is used, right? What is finally? You guys still remember what a finally is?
Even if exception occurs, the finally block will run.
Will execute, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
that's why if you put connection.close in finally, you are not introducing a database connection leak. Okay, that means no matter what, you're going to close the connection. Okay, if it exists. Okay, so here is the thing. So what is that is important? You got to remember: load the driver, get the connection, create the statement, execute the statement. Okay, and once you got the result set, you're going to iterate through that result set using this while loop, rs.next, and get the values out of it. Okay,
What will the con.create statement, a connection.create statement will
yeah.
do?
So connection.create statement will actually give us a statement object that is eligible to help us, that has the utility to actually execute queries. Like it can be a simple statement or a prepared statement or a callable statement. This is an interface. Statement is an interface, but implementations of it are like either you want to create a prepared statement or a callable statement, like to execute a stored procedure, or if you want to execute a SQL query, or if you want to execute a pre-compiled SQL query. So it has the utility like that. Like this is actually giving us a method. This method is helping us creating a utility for us. Let me go back here to go to the definition of it. Create statement object for sending SQL statements to the database. That means this is the protocol that is helping us. Whatever you write in, pass in as a SQL statement for execute query, it actually transmits it to the underlying database. So it actually talks to the database when you say execute query or execute update, all that stuff. So create statement object for sending SQL statements to the database. SQL statements without parameters are normally executed using statement objects. And it also has the utilities to give us the result set. So that means all the database interactions is what is the interface is giving us. And this statement can be of any type. Like there are three types that we're talking about, right? Like create statement. That means any SQL query that is passed into this create statement. But that does that answer your question? Like con.create statement is actually giving us a utility called statement, which interacts with the database.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It is like opening the tunnel to actually start talking to the database. Like get connection is there, right? Driver manager.get connection established a connection. Once it established a connection, you want to talk to the database, right? If you think about it in a socket, like source and sink. Okay, now the connection has been established. Now over the wire, you want to talk to it, right? So it is a medium. Statement is a medium that tells underlying database whether you are executing a statement that needs to be compiled always, or whether you are executing a statement that is already compiled, or you are executing a stored procedure. Okay, and that also has utility to read data from the database and spill it out as a result set for us. Making sense so far?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to know about the URL. Does it differ for each and every driver vendor database?
This one. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like you're going to say Oracle, JDBC colon Oracle.
Okay.
If you are using Oracle, like this sub protocol changes, not this one. Okay.
Okay.
JDBC colon remains the same, but this one changes. This one remains the same
Mm,
again. Like if you're talking to like on your local, if you have a training database on Oracle, you're going to use Oracle as this one. And
mm,
driver and this sub protocol changes. That's all. If
okay.
you're moving from this MySQL to Oracle, all you're going to change is the driver that you have it in the class path and the sub protocol name.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything else should remain the same. So 4 steps: load the driver, get the connection, create the statement, execute the statement. Okay. And then once you got the statement, you're going to iterate through however you want. Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Let's execute this one. So we got the connection, executed the query. So was null, return not null. So let's see. Okay. So it executed, right? So I want to show you guys a little bit different way. In our select query, we said ID and name, right? ID is integer. Let's see. Okay. So this is going to display whatever we have in the database. Okay. See, both the IDs it is displaying. Okay. If you add more data to the table, let's see. If we add more data to the table, okay. If you add more data to the table, it should display all 4 records, right? See, all 3 records. How many of our records we have here? It's going to display all those. Okay. What happened? 1987, 02, 01. Why it did not work? Okay. Maybe I did not put it properly. Okay. So if you want to fetch the date as well, let's see how to fetch the date. column DOB not found. See, through an exception. So column DOB exists, right? Can somebody tell me why it's not displaying column DOB? It's obvious actually. Can you guys tell me why DOB is not displayed?
We are not fetching,
Hmm?
we are not fetching DOB from student in the
Yeah.
query.
Yeah. So if you add DOB here, it will show. Yeah, now it will show. Okay. So whatever you can fetch is limited to whatever you're putting in here. Okay. Fine. So let's move on. Any questions?
No.
Right. So this is about type 2 driver. You guys can look at that type 2 driver thing. All right. So interface database metadata. So it's going to give you more details about like what are the major version, minor version of the database, and database product name, like details about database. If you want to know anything, you see metadata. Previously you saw result set metadata, right? So if wherever you come across metadata word in Java world, it's like more information. It's giving you more information about that. Okay. Get metadata of the connection interface returns the handles to database metadata. Okay. More methods are available in this interface. So database info. So loads the and registers the driver and use database info.java to see how can you display information about a database. So let's see that what it is talking about. Database info. So what does it do? It's loading the driver and it's getting the driver, and it got the metadata, database metadata from the connection object, and then it displayed all the major version, minor version, and all that information. Okay, let's just try executing it. Access denied. SPDB user using password, yes. So we cannot get the database connection. Why? We are saying as JDBC MySQL localhost 3306 training. Didn't we see the same in here? Right? Let's see why it is doing that. SQL exception. That means it is throwing it in here, right? Okay. So do you guys see any problem in the URL? Here JDBC colon localhost and all that. Right? Let me just compile. I think that's about it. Oh, I have it built automatically. Yeah, it's not establishing that. Because there was a typo in the database thing, spdb user, and I had a typo in there. That's why it was not letting us connect. So if you see here, connected to the database, it said this database product name MySQL version that I'm using is this one, and then driver used is this one, like driver name, driver version, major version, and minor version of the driver, and numeric functions, system functions, string functions, and all this are available here, and connection to be closed. So you can just get any metadata from it. Okay, fine. Let's move on. So now you know how important it is, driver manager and get connection, right? Then to retrieve data, one must use one of the following classes to query the database, like statement, prepared statement, and callable statement. Here we said statement, but it is actually a create statement. Okay. So what is it? A statement object is returned from the create statement method of the connection interface. It has execute query, execute update, execute, close, and all this stuff. So method create statement of the connection interface returns the handle to the statement. To see the information in rows sent from the database, we need to use the method in the result set interface. Okay, so result set. And result set is an interface. It has like a find column, get the column name, and you are going to get the result set and all that. Next and previous, like if you want to move cursor around the result set and all. This is very important interface as well. To find out the number of columns and all that, you are going to use results set metadata. We saw this already, right? Then, so here example load. So what is it doing? SQL query: load or register the JDBC ODBC driver, connect to the database, get a handle to the query, and execute the query, get the count of columns. And I think we did this already, right? We know how to do the connection, get the metadata, and all that, right? This is just an overview of what we did. Table info. Let's just execute those samples. So here, URL, you have loaded the driver, but I need to change the name of the driver, right? And get the connection, result set, and all this. You're just going to get the name of the table. Like this is result set metadata, right? So column label name, column type, and all that stuff. So you guys just change the table name and query and execute it. Okay. Similar thing in here. Okay. So here, one important distinction is we are using a prepared statement. Okay. So mostly, if somebody is asking you anything in JDBC, they may ask you those 4 steps are about this one. Or what is the difference between a create statement, prepared statement? Okay. Create statement is nothing but the same thing as we used in all our previous examples. Okay. Create statement is nothing but whatever SQL query that you are passing, it's going to be compiled every time. Okay. That means any time that you pass in, there is an overhead of compilation. Whereas prepared statement, see here, same query, we made it as prepared statement. Like you can pass as many number of times, like you can put it in a loop and you can execute this query n number of times, but it is going to be compiled only once. but the value that you're passing to employee ID will be substituted. That means it is pre-compiled. It compiles only once, and after that it is going to use it. Like it will not, it does not have the overhead of compiling over and over again. Okay, that is the efficiency prepared statement gives compared to create statement. Okay, then if that is the case, why do we go for create statement? Why don't we use prepared statement all the time? That can be the question that you can come into our mind, right? Yeah, when we use create statement is for ad hoc querying. Ad hoc querying, what is it? Like say for example on the UI you have a list of criteria, right? Like okay, you have a data grid of list of all employees, employee ID, employee name, and all that stuff. And there is also a feature, customized table. So you want to add more information to it, like get the table like information, more information like student address, student gender, and all that information. So that means on the fly during runtime you are actually constructing the query, right? Like instead of just saying select id comma name, you're saying now the query is select id name and address, gender, and all those information because that user wanted it. Okay, to accommodate those kind of stuff, you cannot just keep your query pre-compiled. You have to compile it during runtime depending on the user's need. That's when you use create statement. Otherwise prepared statement is our choice. You guys understand what a prepared statement is? Like you're creating a query. Okay, you're getting a statement, you're creating a prepared statement by passing in the query, and then previously if you see here we don't pass anything to the get the statement, right? Whereas here you pass the query, so it constructed a prepared statement, and now you are going to set. Okay, now you set the prepared statement. Now you are going to set in a within a while loop, you can say like n times construct the query. Okay, n times pass various values. Like if I have 10 values, or 10 times I want to execute this update, this select query, I'm going to put it in a loop and substitute various values. Even then it's going to compile it only once. Okay, compile only once, use multiple times. Okay, that is create statement and prepared statement distinction. Whereas there is something else called callable statement that is used only for stored procedures. What is a stored procedure? You know SQL statements now, right? Group of SQL statements put together to be executed. It can be either a function or a procedure in the database. Okay, and if you want to call those kind of routines, like here, see table, view, and routine, right? So if something you're writing in here is called a stored procedure, like I have some stored procedures here, let me show you. So these are the stored procedures I have. Like it's like a function. In Java you write functions, right? In the same way you have functions, and you can write like a bunch of declarations, initializations. Then you're going to write some query, and you're going to do some operation and exit. Like you can do loops and all that. It comes in the category of PLSQL, not SQL. Okay, wherein you write some functions and procedures. So if I were to invoke this stuff from JDBC, I use callable statement. Understood? Is it making sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. So data conversion, you're just going to use get rs.get and all that. Okay, passing parameters to SQL statements to retrieve a row based on half of this. Solution, use prepared statement. The problem with the above statement is that employee is having value string 3 and not int 3. That's fine. So you can actually pass in int 3 by using a prepared statement. Okay. Fine. Then if you understood prepared statement and create statement, one other stuff that comes in handy is the batch update. That means you can say auto commit off. You can add bunch of statements, and all can be executed at once. Okay, that means you can group bunch of insert statements and send to the database directly. Understood? Like you can add bunch of statements here. So if you want, I can execute that here for you. Localhost training. Already this class is already in the loader for us, right? I can remove that loader. I need to load the database driver. I don't know why I commented out with the previous session. Okay. Then here spdb user, insert into the table that we have in this training schema is what? Student table, right? Let's do that student table. Student, and values that I am interested in are name, and date of birth, right? Only these two. Date of birth, in the same way I'm going to put in okay. So let's see if these two gets added to our database. Okay, once batch executed, what is going to happen? We want to fetch again student, right? Select star from student. So what is there in student, and we're going to get like from the result set, you're going to get the name, id, name, id, and dob, right? Okay, I'll remove this stuff. So now after all this, I'm doing a commit. That means like MySQL by default is auto commit. That's why I have to disable auto commit. Okay, and then I'm doing a commit. But you may get a question, okay, you're doing a commit, but will it retrieve the values? Let's see. Okay, ideally I would have put this one. Ideally I would have put that one after the commit. Okay, but I'll talk about it a little more once we execute this. Okay, let's see. Okay, got the connection, auto commit off. See, execute updates through an exception saying training coffees does not exist. Ooh. What? Oh, see, I have an error here. That's why. Good. Software cannot be wrong. Okay. Not software, computer. Okay. Let me see. Still, column does not match the value count at row 1. What's the difference I'm making here? Do I have extra columns in there? This seem to be fine, right? I'll just say name comma dop. Okay. So Ravi, 1, 2, 3, Karen and Joanne. Let me actually print out in new lines. Probably that's one. See, so it inserted these two guys again because I executed multiple times, right? So Joanne and Karen are inserted again. Okay, but previously our example was this, right? Let's see. I know a theory like MySQL, though we say condots at commit false, maybe it's not doing that. That's why maybe I did put condat commit the end or in the beginning. Doesn't matter, but let's see. So we need to see two more, right? Oh, how many we are seeing now? We did not execute commit yet. Let's see how many we have in our. Yeah, it inserted Karen and Joanne one more time. Yeah, this was the thing actually. Um, I was expecting until we call like con.commit, like if it is Oracle, it would be so obvious. But this MySQL behavior is like that. Like though you say set auto commit false, it doesn't do that. It doesn't honor that. That's the reason I think I put it even in the end. Did not make any difference. But ideally, if you are doing these kind of operations, you want to put here, not here, here. That means after you are committing it, you saved it. Okay, after you are committing it, you saved it and all. So to that matter, even if you don't have any of these, I think you are okay. Just that. If it is any other database, it behaves in a different way. See, 11 and 12. So even if you disable it or did not disable it, doesn't matter actually for MySQL. But Oracle, this makes a lot of sense. Like if you put auto commit and then commit, that is when actually it is going to write it to the database. Right? I think to demonstrate that, I must have done put back and forth. Any questions? Batch update is this. So you can group bunch of batch statements. And the performance of it will be extremely good. Actually, in our application, we use Hibernate, but when there are any batch jobs, we move a lot to execute batch because that actually makes total sense. Okay. Then, to string to be queried must be passed. Yeah, this is all we discussed. Okay. Setting parameters in the query string are filled using a question mark in a prepared statement. See, prepared. We saw this prepared statement already, so don't worry about it. SQL query 2. Okay, this is the exercise for you guys. Create a table called projects with the following specification, like project ID, project name, project location, project start date. Insert the values. Okay, then after that exercise is also given, but yeah, insert the values. So sending SQL nulls as parameters. Like to send an SQL null as a parameter, use the set null in prepared statement, and first integer in the position. Like you can either use a integer or a string. Okay. Then exercise, insert the value into table project created in the previous exercise, new values to it. Then stored procedure. To execute a stored procedure call, one must use the callable.
Ravi, your voice is not clear for me.
Oh, is it? How is it now?
Can you speak again? I cannot
Still
hear
the
you.
same.
Yeah.
Let me see my internet. Am I on a slow one? Or yeah, I'm on the good one. Still, is it not clear? Are you able to hear me now? Okay.
I'm not hearing it continuously. It's breaking.
It's breaking up. Maybe I am actually moving back and forth. That's why
Yeah.
I think. Now I'm closer. What do you think? Now it's okay?
Yes.
Closer to the mic now. Actually, I was actually moving away probably. Okay. Now we are talking about stored procedures. To execute a stored procedure, one must use the callable interface. This can be created using the prepare call method of the connection interface. A stored procedure call might return some values. So to retrieve them, you need to register the out parameter before executing the stored procedure. So that means stored procedure can also return some output similar to SQL. So to do that, you need to register a out parameter. Okay. Callable statements extends from prepared statement. Okay, so this is how you do. So callable statement equals to con.prepare call, and you're going to say like call gets test data. You're going to pass some inputs and inputs to that if there are any, and then get test data has two out parameters, so you need to register for both, like register out parameter 1 and 2, and then execute it. Then you can fetch statement.get byte of 1 and get double of 2. That means whatever you have registered as out parameters, you can fetch it. It depends really on your stored procedure, whether it is returning values or not. You need to be really good at stored procedure to know this, to understand this. Do you guys know stored procedures?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got to register an out. Most of ours are read only or doing some operation. We don't care about. We don't use stored procedures in our application. All these I do is for data fixes. So that's why there are no out parameter to show you guys the out, like a written from it. But we used to have in our one of our previous projects. That's where I took this example out. Like this get test data actually returns an output, okay? And we are registering those outputs and capturing it. Okay. So this is just a flow how it is executing and all that. Okay. Now, so creating a stored procedure. Steps to create a stored procedure in the database. Create procedure. Select star from employee. So whatever data that you have in employee table, you're creating it as a procedure of name show emp. Okay. Now con dot create statement, like this is like creating a stored procedure through the application. Okay. So you're creating it as an SQL query. creating a create statement and you're calling execute update, that means it will create a stored procedure on the database directly. Okay, and what will be the result set of it? It is result set is same as select star from emp. Okay, that's the cursor. Steps to execute a stored procedure in the database. So we know this call. Now we are going to say like call show emp. Then exercise. The application as of now is having difficulty in managing the data stored in the files. Further accessing this data according to various permutations and combinations has been a tedious task. Therefore, it is suggested that the data in the files to be migrated to a RDBMS. This is like a use case. Okay. So using the objects we deploy the various database related information as objects in an application. So preferred means of getting a connection to a data source. So idea is this exercise is actually giving you a use case how you want your n number of files that you have to be moved to an RDBMS. You want to design a use case, like for example, for an employee management system. How are you going to use? How are you going to do that? Okay, fine. So, any questions so far, or do you want me to execute that store procedure, the one that has been created like this? Are you guys comfortable with having it on the slide, or do you want me to create it? Are you guys okay?
Can you execute that?
This one? Yeah. Let's see.
The before one, the before slide.
Yeah, this one. This one?
Yes.
Yeah, let's put it in a Java program. Oh, you want to see how it gets created? Okay, let's put it in a, I'm just taking the existing one, but we'll modify it accordingly. So till here it is going to be same, right? Only this piece onwards it changes. Right? Let's see what it is doing. So we're saying create procedure. Select star from student. Okay, for us. Okay. Oh, I have it already. Ah, why it's stuck here? Okay. I don't need this. I need st dot execute update. It's going to return int. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Show student. Okay. Let's see here. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check manual that corresponds to MySQL version as select star from student. Okay. Oh, why you cannot go? Okay. Create procedure, show student. Okay. Let me actually go to my other procedures. Create procedure. So there is no begin and all that. I have create procedure. This as select star from student. Okay. Let's just execute it on MySQL. If the syntax, we can determine if the syntax is right. Let's okay. So this is the complaint. Syntax error. Select create stored procedure as. If I just say ID, procedure name. Okay, stored procedure. I think this is the problem. That's Oracle syntax probably. I must have used. Yeah, show student. So it created it. Okay. So we got to say here, no need of as actually. Create procedure student, no need of as. I think then we are okay. Okay, even if I remove this, is it okay? Yeah, it's going to compile again. It's like a function. We got to say like this. Okay, let's. Did we drop it? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it created it. Yeah. So if you want to execute this, you're going to say like call shows student.
Only one S.
What is it?
Only one S.
One is right. Yeah. Yeah, that's when it's going to create the result set. So now we have this example, right? Let's speak in a little bit like as we are here, let's do the callable statement as well. Even I'm not sure how it works. Let's see. So now we know the name of this one. So we're going to say con dot prepare call, con dot prepare call, and we're going to say call. What is the name of it? Show student. What is the name of it? Show student. So it's a callable statement. I'm just trying this result set thing works or not. I don't know either. Yeah, it works. Yeah, not just like if you want to retrieve the output from the stored procedure, you can register the outputs, or you can execute like a stored SQL query in this case, which gave us the name, ID, and date of birth. Yeah, I think it should be fine. Like this execution. Yeah. So we have the sample now for the stored procedure as well. Any questions?
Um, while creating a stored procedure, we used execute update.
Yeah.
Can we use a execute there?
Execute?
Yeah.
I don't think it works. Let's see. Let me actually make a copy of this guy. Like execute update is for create and update statements. But let's see. Mm, How are we passing? Okay. 1 second. Let me see the sample and say what I'm talking about. Test. Okay. So this is a create procedure thing. Why it doesn't show? Okay. So you're saying
Execute.
no. If you say execute. We are not associating this guy with that, right? You're saying execute query.
No.
Let me say here. I see what you're saying, but execute. You're saying execute query of this one. That is for read. Okay.
There is an execute. Only execute.
Okay. Yeah, no difference now with execute and execute query. Both will return you. This is returning a boolean. So I will drop the procedure here. I'm thinking it will create, that's generally we use it for select queries, but let's see. Yeah, created. Yeah. So these are all wrapper functions. Probably everything internally calls execute. Let's go to execute update, right? What was that?
Yes.
Go, source code is not there. So, but this is what? This is statement, right? Create statement. Let's see. Statement impl. Okay. So this guy is using statement impl. You don't have source code for this guy? Okay. Depends on the driver. That's why probably they use the proper convention like execute update and stuff. MySQL may be behaving differently, and like they may provide more utilities for you. You see what I'm saying? Like if you used execute update here, and you used execute update, you moved it to Oracle. For execute
Okay.
update, you used execute. Then you migrated to Oracle. They may not do the same. Uh, that may lead us to problem. But let me see the source code. MySQL driver source code. This connector. I don't know on the platform. This is star GC they are giving us. Okay, connector Java. So this is the source code. So okay, this is a temp backup, right? Okay. So here I'm going to see. Oh, they are asking me either to choose a zip or this one. Choose a zip. It doesn't show me. Okay. So we are looking at statement. So statement input here. com.jdb mysql jdbc statement input statement, and we are saying execute, right? Execute update. When you're saying execute update, it's calling something internally. Execute update, check closed, result set. Execute SQL. Execute SQL. This is the method that is getting executed. So this is execute update, right? What is it doing? It's getting a mutex out of it, and connection, get log, catalog, use max, execute, like it is executing execute SQL, right? Let's see what execute does. Execute does the some escape SQL injection, connection, check closed, is read only, do escape processing, then results not null. But where did this guy got results already? Create SQL exceptions, is read only, connection, create result set, settings and batch. Where exactly is it? Okay, see here, he's also executing the same stuff. So it really depends on the driver. Maybe when you're using this guy, you're safe, right? When you're using MySQL, you're safe. Probably he's supporting the same. But if you look at the implementation internally, it may be different. Okay, but let's see the documentation in JDBC APIs originally. Like according to spec, if we look at here, executes the given SQL statement, which may return multiple results. Okay, whereas here this execute SQL statement can be anything. That's why it is working for you. It executes the given SQL statement, which may return multiple results. Executing a stored procedure that you know may return multiple result sets. Are you dynamically executing an unknown SQL statement? Okay, so this method cannot be called on a prepared statement or a callable statement. And what is the statement that you were using?
Callable statement.
Let's see, no, not callable, I think, right? In this example, at least we were using probably create statement. Let's see, this one, right? We were using what? It's a create statement. That's why it worked. So doesn't matter, on a create statement you can use it. Okay, so executing a stored procedure or anything. That means everything you stuff in. So it's contradicting, isn't it? How can you execute a stored procedure from a create statement? You're creating it in this. In this, you're just creating it, so you're fine. This method cannot be called on a callable statement. But in the first statement, he said normally you can ignore this unless you are executing a stored procedure that you know may result multiple rows. Yeah. So it's also SQL exception if you use it on a prepared statement or a callable statement. Let me see what an execute update gives. executes the given SQL statement, signals the driver with the given flag about whether the auto-generated keys produced by the statement should be made available for retrieval. The driver will ignore the flag if the SQL statement is not an insert. So this method cannot be called on a prepared statement or a callable statement. Mm, a DML statement such as insert, update, and delete are an SQL statement that returns nothing, such as DDL statement. Okay. So parameter of SQL we got to see on execute as well. One second. So on just execute. Okay. On just execute, if you see the same. Oh, it's opening in the new. On just execute, it is any SQL statement. Yeah, it's just a wrapper. You can think about it like either you want to use execute update or execute. Doesn't really matter. Like when you're saying execute update, you're for sure you know that you're doing DML operations. Yeah. Given any SQL statement, execute can work. Internally, probably execute update calls execute, but yeah, doesn't really matter. Yeah. But if you're executing a result out of it, then execute may not work for you, right? If you see here, this execute query, the three methods we used so far today, right? If you're using here in this case, suppose it executed a query, like depending on what is your output expectation, you're going to use that. Yeah, like if you use execute, you don't get a result set out of it. If you want a result set, you are using execute query, right? Or
Yes.
depending on the output that you want. If you use execute update, it's going to tell you how many records got changed. I think that is the driving factor that you need to use which method to be adopted. Is it making sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like you should not use this method or that method. It's depending on what is your takeaway from it. Generally, we use execute query and execute update because we want to know how many records got changed or what is the result set. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. These data source objects and cursors, probably we can talk about those tomorrow, and result set and row set and all that stuff. Okay. So probably we'll finish off JDBC tomorrow. Okay. Uh, and one other thing I want to tell you guys is install MySQL. And if you run into any issues, do you guys already have MySQL on your locals?
Yes.
Do you have it? Do you use it often, or do you have to set